Welcome to GCC Giants. This episode focuses on compliance to innovation, the GCC playbook. Now, the financial services sector is undergoing rapid transformation. We have the rise of digital wallets, embedded finance, to the scaling of real time payments. At the same time, these advances bring an entirely new level of exposure risk. Cybersecurity is no longer a back end safeguard. It has now become a frontline business priority, especially as fintech and cyber risks converge. India's GCCs sit at the heart of all this convergence. They're not only ensuring compliance and operational resilience, but they're also shaping and protecting the platforms, products, and protections that global businesses today depend on. In fact, cybersecurity hiring in India's GCC ecosystem is among the fastest growing, reflecting how critical resilience and trust have become in the fintech journey. Today, we're joined by two leaders who embody this evolution. Please join me in welcoming in our studios today Shivi Mithal, who is the Vice President and Country Manager India at Mimecast, and we also have with us Sunil Shirguppe, who is the Senior Vice President and India Country Head at Greenlight Financial. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you so much. We always talk about compliance and risk. Now, it's very difficult to move beyond that and then accelerate growth and drive value. How are you doing that at your fintech?
So at Greenlight India IDC, GCC rather, one of the things we have consciously done, Shilpa, is whatever teams or functions we have set up here, we have made sure that there is complete front to back ownership for those teams here. What I mean by that is, even though you start with like security and core engineering, but then you very soon realize that you also need product, you need design, you need operations, and all those things. So for all the functions, what we have set up in Greenlight India, they have complete front to back ownership. That's number one. The second thing that has also happened to the favor of a lot of companies like us is this whole advent of AI and data tools, right? Because of this AI, all the tools that are out there, building these quick POCs and then trying them out on a customers to see whether it works or not, that has become very easy, right? Now these two are the sort of the guiding factors of how sort of we are doing it. In the background, what has also happened in India specifically is, this whole payments ecosystem has really matured. What I mean by that is, there are companies like PayPal, there are companies like Visa, MasterCard, and all those things. They have matured their model in India, which also means that the talent that used to work there, they understand the payment gateway systems very well. They understand consumer risk and all. So when we go and hire people from these companies, you know, uh, they quickly can sort of come and add a lot of value. So the combination of our decision to how the market has evolved has really helped us sort of shape up the GCs in
No
India.
wonder now fintech apps are moving towards being super apps.
Mhm.
So I can clearly see that evolution, how it's taking place. I'll go across to you, Shivi. How is your GCC sitting at the intersection of innovation and resilience?
Right. So, see, first of all, whenever this center was set up, when we set up the center, it was set up as a true GCC, which means that all the roles were global. We would have engineering managers sitting here who would have their teams in India, but also in Israel, in Netherlands, UK, US, etc. So the hierarchy was decided not by geography, but purely by the ability of the person, by the talent available. Along with this, whenever you have a senior leader in India, that person is completely responsible for the quality of the deliverables, for the timeliness, and subsequently customer satisfaction. Similarly, whenever say there is a requirement that comes up, or we see that hey, somebody made it through our defenses, right? That would translate into a action that what can we do to solutionize to reduce this risk even further. That kind of decisioning happens. Yes, there is a lot of discussion between architects, between say the delivery managers, etc. There may be some involvement from the other countries also, but wherever there is a ownership in India, that complete decision is driven by the team here. In some cases we may need to consult because there are say people in headquarters who have been associated with our company for 2 decades, right? They definitely have more knowledge, so we would consult them, but a significant amount of ownership lies with us. So that is how we are moving, or rather, it was set up in a way right from the beginning that it's not just about compliance or the basics, it's about innovation.
All right, so would you say this growth has accelerated over the last few years where GCCs are moving from being capability to competence centers?
That is absolutely true. See, one of the reasons why Mimecast opened a center in India was not for cost arbitrage. They were looking for talent. The cybersecurity needs were increasing throughout the globe. And where would you find more talent than in India, than in Bangalore?
Absolutely. But I really feel that with the proliferation of GCCs in not just Bangalore, now we have Hyderabad emerging, we have Pune emerging. I feel like it's all becoming a GCC hub, and India by itself is becoming a huge GCC hub. I think about 1,700
Yeah.
GCCs and a large growing part of it financial, fintech GCCs as well. And that brings me to you, Sunil. So, how are you using data, right? So, data, everybody has been saying, is a new currency, is the new oil. Apart from, I'm sure you have a lot of rich data in your sector, but apart from just using it for insights, how are you using it for proactive decision making?
Yeah. See, with any consumer company, especially that is a new age consumer company where your platform is a mobile, like our platform is majority on mobile, like 90% of our customers use the mobile platform to avail our services. We do a very thorough job in making sure that anything that we put on the mobile platform, how well it is tagged, so that we can track how the consumers are doing. See, what happens with the typical consumer kind of a model is you don't get to talk to the customers because we have more than 2 million active paying subscribers. There is no way we as a company can go talk to the consumers. The only way we can hear them is by understanding the behavior of how they are navigating within the app. So that's where Greenlight as a company does a great job in looking at how the consumer is using the app and see if they are facing any problems, because the consumers are generally very in a way very shy, right? They'll not come and come and tell you that this was not working or this was working, or they'll not tell you they really like this feature versus they did not like this feature. We as a company need to make sure we understand all of that from the data. So that's why we do a lot of tagging with of all the flows that happen within our mobile platform. That's number one. The second thing, how we use data is, see, we are a consumer company, so there's always a lot of consumer risk. So we have to make sure that there are no fraudulent transactions happening on our platform, right? And and Shivi is also in that industry. So what we do is we take all of this data, and for every transaction we have real-time models which actually say whether this transaction is a good transaction or this transaction is a fraudulent transaction. I mean, flagging off those patterns, and this is very common in the consumer industry, but this is something we do very proactively. Again, what has helped in all of this is, again, I keep saying this, right? The advent of AI tools that has come in. So previously what used to happen was only the analytics team would go and build these models. Now with all these LLMs and everything coming in, everyone in the company is going and building these models. We are now facing a challenge where all these models that are coming out as POCs, how do we put them into production? So that's when we work with some of the vendors who provide these platforms so that we can house these models and use it in a real-time production environment.
So that's a good problem to have,
Absolutely.
a problem of plenty.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
That's great. And now I'm coming to you, Shivi, about data. I know at how you were saying, this is something that you actively do, flagging off those patterns, mining that data. But how are you going beyond that now at your GCC? I'm sure with emerging tech, you are also innovating a lot.
Definitely. So, see, for cybersecurity, leveraging analytics is the heart of it, right? Because it's every time it's going to be a new kind of attack, right? And unless we can put our analytics correct, we will not be able to stop it before it happens, right? So, let's take a example. So first, okay, I will take a very simple use case. In cybersecurity, suppose Mr. Sunil is my CEO and I am the CFO. And all of a sudden, I receive an email from him saying that, Shivi, I am stuck in airport, transfer $10,000 to me immediately, right? Now, we have an analytics engine which we have built. It's not today, but about more than a year back, where we do social graphing, which means that our tool detects how I and Mr. Sunil are interacting, what is the typical language and the words we use. And when I see that email, it will suddenly highlight that, hey, this email, the way it is written, the pattern is very different from the way your CEO typically talks to you, right? So better double check, right? And then we have additional checks, a recent development that we did, advanced business email compromise, which will also tell me that, hey, this is talking about urgency, this is talking about money transfer, the suspiciousness of this email is high, better call up your CEO before you take any action, right? So that is how we are able to give a proactive warning to our users. It's not just that. I'm just talking a one is to one example, but if you look at it at a global level, let's say we see some threats coming from a particular domain, a new kind of attack that is coming from a particular domain in North America. We know that this same threat will now percolate throughout the globe within maybe 24 hours, right? The moment we detect the threat for the first time, immediately we will increase the security policy across all our customers through the globe, so that every single customer through the globe is now fully protected, right? So that is how we would stop the attacks before they happen.
All right. And, I'm sure you do this at your GCC,
Yes.
where you detect these patterns. But would you say that now you are autonomously also coming up with solutions? Perhaps they could be, India based, or, it could be your own team that is coming up with these solutions which are being replicated on your global platform or
So
organization?
yes. So as I mentioned that from the beginning, it was set up as a true global capability center. So wherever we have leaders here, the solutions are coming from them. At the moment, you can say it's slightly engineering heavy, but then it's just 2 years. Our next plan is to increase the product management strength here. In that case, I am sure business side of solutions will also start coming, and hopefully, maybe not in too far in the future, we will look at possibly launching our products in India. In which case, our say customer pain points, the solutioning needs, all those will also start flowing in from India.
Yes, fantastic. And I think that'll be really fast and you can come up with some great breakthroughs there. All right, looking forward to that. And go back to you, Sunil. Greenlight focuses on financial literacy of families and the next generation. How is your India hub driving that while also innovating on the product side and on the side of customer experience?
Yeah. See, that's a good question, Shilpa. So, Greenlight as a business does not exist in India. We haven't launched in India yet. We are only in US, and very soon we're going to go international with some other North American countries and some European countries. Now, one of the challenges initially when we set up, we thought that the India team may not be able to do what you exactly said. Like, how do you enable financial literacy more? But to my surprise, a couple of things have happened. Number one is, as I said, the only way we hear our customers is by either the data or by some of the reviews they put in on the different app platforms, right? The India teams have done an amazing job of taking all of this data and sort of democratizing that across the company globally, saying, hey, for this specific feature or this specific product we have launched, this is what the consumers are saying, right? So that's something that has happened. The second way we are sort of again promoting financial literacy more is by managing the risk. All of risk efforts for Greenlight, all the way from risk engineering to risk strategy, they run out of India, right? So it's an amazing value to add to the company. And lastly, uh, the way the ML models and all those things what we have built, that really give our customer service team a lot of information when they're dealing with the customer. So there are multiple ways in what we have done, and we continue to keep doing so even though we don't have a product in India.
All right, maybe we will have it very soon.
Hope so.
Like Shivi said, for his company as well. Now, as you scale operations in India, how do you grow with that agility required while also maintaining the discipline that a regulated financial environment requires?
Yeah. So, that's a great question. For any fintech to sort of scale, you need to make sure that you're following all the financial regulations and all, right? So we pay a lot of attention to whenever we are building products, as an engineering team, when we are building products, we make sure that the products are tested properly, they are following all the regulations what the US government or the other countries would have put in and all. So there is a lot of focus on the quality of what we develop and what we ship to the consumers, right? So there's a lot of focus on that. But on the other side, typically engineering companies follow what is called the SDLC process, the software development life cycle. So when we talk about this SDLC process, we make sure that globally, or whatever the teams are doing, we adhere to all those policies in a very strict manner. Right? Even though we might be working in a different time zone and all, which is sometimes becomes a handicap, but we never let that sort of go into the products we are shipping out.
All right. It's great to see how you maintain that discipline while also being able to deliver on time. Shivi, now cybersecurity has become an absolute business imperative. Zoning in on your India GCC, what do you think is the biggest value you are driving for your global organization, helping keep other organizations safe?
Okay, I would say, um, see, every single engineering, or, all right, let me put it this way. Mimecast provides a human risk management platform. It is all about protecting the human, because if you look in today's date, almost all successful attacks, they have one or the other human miss somewhere, accidental click on a incorrect URL, or being susceptible to a social engineering kind of attack, etc. So within this human risk management, we have multiple product lines, because that is how you build an overall platform. Most of those product lines have a team in India. And that is where we are delivering value, coming up with the right solutions, enhancing features continuously, new kind of attacks coming up. In the most recent kind of attack which surprised me, see, you would know that there are QR codes. Sometimes they are malicious, they come in email, easy to detect. Now cybersecurity criminals have found a way to split those QR codes, making it extremely difficult for to detect when they are coming in. And then when the end user reads it, they somehow join it, and then somebody scans it, and there it's gone.
It's truly innovative.
Yeah, yeah, truly innovative, really. So now that kind of thing has to be defended. That solution comes from us,
So you have
right?
to anticipate that and
Yes,
then defend it.
yes. So we are on top of every kind of say phishing or social engineering attack that happens globally. Information flows to the right product lines, and then whichever line has to pick it up, they pick it up, find a solution, roll out the solution.
Well, it's really mind-boggling to think how your job cannot be reactive anymore and has to be
It cannot
very
be reactive.
proactive.
Reactive
Yeah,
means our customer is gone.
absolutely. Yeah, you need to anticipate these threats
Yeah.
even before they're in place. You need to be one step further. We're completely out of time, but I do want to take in one last question from you, Shivi, on talent. What is the sort of talent that is required in a cyber security GCC uh, to help it thrive?
Great question. And the talent need is somewhat different from most other industries. As you can imagine, see, to protect our customers, any new kind of threat has to be resolved or defended in hours, maybe at max a day, right? Which means that we cannot follow the typical pyramid. If we have too many junior members, they would take time to understand the new kind of attack, experiment with technology, release a solution which may take a week. No, so we do not have a pyramid, we have a kite. There is limited leadership, but then we have a significant number of principal engineers, senior software engineers, and then the junior engineers are again very, very limited. So this is the layer which is thoroughly experienced in tech. At least they don't have to learn. The moment they see attack, okay, let's find a solution, release it.
All right. So you do need those sort of mature professionals
Yes,
in
yes.
that industry, and I'm sure that goes for you too. I would love to delve into this intersection of fintech and cybersecurity. It's been extremely fascinating to see how the two play off each other and support each other. Thank you so much for joining us here in the studios today.
Thank you,
Thank you
Shalini.
so much. And as Shivi and Sunil have told you, they've been driving real value for their global organizations and going beyond just capability centers. And to find out how other such excellent leaders are doing the same for their organizations, remember to stay tuned to GCC Giants.